to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, welcome in.
I think you saved it a little bit.
I think I was a little late to the party mentally there. Welcome into the show.
Yawn. Welcome in.
Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, back with you.
Supposed to be pumping the people up, not bringing them down. This isn't an ASMR sleepy time podcast.
Well, maybe if somebody said it was football time every once in a while, we'd all be energized.
Give us a little bump.
It's not football time,
but it
guys.
was on the Hall of Fame game, man.
Yeah.
Did you see?
It turned into some pretty darn good football.
Yeah, but here's the
The
thing.
Hall of Fame game had more viewers than the highest rated NHL game last year, I think.
Yeah.
Get wrecked, hockey. But here's the thing. Had I said it's football time and then Carson Beck goes out and lays an absolute stinker, I mean, it's football time.
You just don't know your football. We knew that was coming.
Yeah, you don't
Jason
know your
and I
football.
knew.
You don't know your football, Mike.
I
Jason
apologize.
and
I knew that Carson Beck could see all.
We did talk about the field vision.
Well, he's maybe that makes the no look.
Oh, that was a look.
Yeah, he was staring him down.
What the DBs don't realize is he had fully tipped exactly where that ball was going to go.
Yes.
What do we got?
You just gotta look because he cuts his visor really wide.
I know. I'm looking
We're
at
the
this.
black shirt crew,
The triple black shirt.
and we wear hats.
Triple hats today. Deucer's back there. There's one hat too. Oh, there's no.
There's one hat too few. There's
No hat
one
in the
hat
middle.
too few back there.
I tried on a hat yesterday, and you guys picked on me.
But
so.
that's because of the hat.
You picked the hat
He's
out.
also the only one without a black shirt.
Dude, I mean, genuinely, you pick hats like that boy from the Sandlot. Like,
What? Oh man, what?
you don't know.
No, I don't.
It's the flat dad hat.
The
flat
Sandlot
dad
where,
hat, where it's
the
just-
kid is like, Benny comes and he saves him. He's like, dude, don't wear that hat. You can't wear that
I
hat.
do
Kind of
not
looks
remember
like
that
he
one.
put a washcloth on his head. I mean, not
I
much.
got to go back.
Not much different.
I haven't visited the Sandlot in probably 2 decades.
Oh man, brother,
Yeah.
it's bad.
Oh, that's a big
What
bill.
is happening?
That's a huge bill.
We have performance climbers on today's show, by the way. Barely any news. I'm gonna skip the segment and just give it to you real quick. And then we're gonna jump into running back rankings.
Yeah. There's no news. Nothing to see here.
Oh no.
Wait, what is that allude to?
That's the
There's
lying pants.
No. There's no the news. You're right. Don't even worry about that news section.
Oh my gosh, what is
Just hit the button and.
Oh, you saying the Christian McCaffrey part?
No,
What?
that's
There's no news.
It's 2 of them.
We have
What?
to announce
There's no news,
something
guys.
first. Because it is that time of year, we are going to do a UDK for Life giveaway. This is your one chance a year to pick up
For life.
the UDK for the rest of your natural life. I know we've had debates on bequeathing. Like once you pass, can you give your UDK life away to somebody else? I don't know. I think we kind of shut that down before. I'm willing to open that up.
I'm opening it up, but it has to be in
In a will.
print.
It has to
yeah,
be
it
in
has
a
to be in a
will.
will and some kind of we're not going to court here.
Yeah,
Like,
no probate.
no way.
Notarized.
Never through probate.
But if you pick up the UDK or an Ultimate Foot Clan membership before we do our live stream, which will be August 24th, you will be entered to win the UDK for Life and a signed Jamar Chase jersey.
It is pretty cool. I know, obviously, everyone wants a UDK forever. That's awesome. If you get the Ultimate Foot Clan membership, we're going to have the Megala Bowls coming soon. We're not opening that up yet. It's not announced, but you're going to want to play in that. So get the Ultimate Foot Clan membership, and you just get everything we ever do forever, always. You're in every tournament. You got every product, in season, out season,
Up season, down
up season, down season, inside out,
Yeah.
DFS, everything.
Out season?
Out season, yeah.
I'm trying to decide on something right now, Mike. we were sitting down to record the
This
show.
sounds dangerous.
We were sitting down to
'Cause
record
I'm
the
not
show.
vibing. I don't know what we're doing.
We had producers, ready to rumble. Me and you are here, and a man came bursting out of the shower.
Okay.
And
Guilty.
I know that guy went out to the range this morning
I did.
to hit some golf balls,
Okay.
which in
Hit about
Arizona
60 of them.
it's dangerous. So he hit two buckets.
No, that's one full bucket.
Okay. And I am afraid to ask him how it went because I know he's trying to get on track because he's got, let's just say this, there's a decent chance, 100%, that he's going to be the video on.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Like last week, people played 9 holes with me.
Right.
And
Tomorrow
I
I'm
learned a
getting
lot about
filmed.
myself and chemicals found in golf tees.
Yeah, Jay, my
Jason's
recommendation is just pesticides from bottle.
I'm going to
to
start
mouth.
licking the grass in order to end this golf curse. Tomorrow I will be recorded
Your
for
divots
everyone's
normally shoot the pesticides 30, 40 yards away.
for everyone's viewing pleasure, everyone other than myself. And how it went this morning was I shot 60 balls. I would say 30 of them were horrifically bad. There was one I was able to catch, so that was pretty cool.
Like it hit off the ground and then you caught it?
So it was teed up. I had my driver.
Oh,
Okay.
this is going to be.
Dude, I hit that tee. Got to be 50 yards. Gotta be.
Okay.
The ball, however, went straight up, and I was able to yoink it right out of the air like a pro.
Did anyone see it?
I don't know. There was 2 old guys near me, but I don't know if they're
Any
watching.
tips? Did you get any tips from the old guys?
No, thankfully. They can't help. You can't help this.
So I think on Wednesday we are going to have Jason's play 9 holes with Jason. You can find that
That will
on
be the last day of my life. So
at
enjoy.
the FF Ballers
Get
or
in the UDK.
Instagram.com/.
Oh, yeah. Jeremy wants to know about the other 30.
I had 10 good shots.
Out of
20 that
60?
were like
So that's
One
not
out
even
of 6?
Fulton Reed level.
1 out of 6. 1 out of 6
Yeah, it
were
is.
Fulton
fine.
Reed's 1 and 5, isn't it?
Was he? That's a Kyle question.
Oh, yeah. Kyle, what do you got?
Yep, 1 out of 5.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, ultimatedraftkit.com, pick it up. Get the UDK for life. Be entered to win. Let's move on.
Performance Climbers, presented by GMC.
All right, we have 3 names, players that have been moving up in average draft position, and we want to talk about those moves, starting with the newly acquired Stefon Diggs, wide receiver for the Commanders. Obviously, really wasn't being drafted before the signing, moving up, will continue to move up.
He's fascinating to me because
There's so much opportunity there.
it is a late addition. Terry McLaurin can't be the entirety of the offense. So right now, he's going in double-digit rounds. So if you're scooping up, like if you're doing your drafts about now, he's a massive, massive value. So the question really
Is he?
becomes, I think so.
So
He's coming off over 1,000 yards.
No, I get it. Let's have a philosophical question about
Right.
what good is, because he finished as the wide receiver 16 last year. Obviously, you could just end the whole debate and say, well, that was really good, and he was
Right.
drafted way behind that. But he wasn't good. Like, he had 1,000 yards. That's awesome. But also, he wasn't played in fantasy the vast majority of weeks. Did he have a handful of weeks that were great? Top 10 weeks? Absolutely, on your bench. Or on waivers. He was not.
I think he was in more lineups than you're giving credit for.
I mean, maybe if
I
you're
felt
in
like
a-
that was happening early in the season, and I think people faded out of that and moved on. Like, people were starting Kayshon Boutte at random there. I mean,
I'm not saying he was never started for a good game, but
PPR, it was good.
I do think that he was nowhere near as valuable as what saying the wide receiver 16 with 1,000 yards sounds like. And that was with, I mean, I would imagine we would assume that Drake May throws for more yards than Jaden Daniels last year
Sure.
versus Jaden Daniels this year. So you've got a smaller pie. He was the one last year versus
He was also coming directly off of a torn ACL and puts up 85 for over 1,000 yards. I mean,
We have
to poo-poo 100 targets going in the double-digit rounds sounds kind of
well.
strange
Let's
to
put
me.
it this way, though. There's 2 sides to it. One, he's a year older. He's Stefon Diggs. He's not in his prime.
A year healthier.
But like Keenan Allen had 122 targets last year. He had 80 catches. Stefon Diggs had 85 catches. I think that's a pretty interesting comparison of those 2 guys. And
And one of them's on a team.
by contrast, Keenan Allen finished at 32 with the same numbers. It was just he had fewer yards,
A lot fewer yards.
but the same touchdowns, the same receptions.
He had about 300 fewer yards, though.
Yeah.
250.
I'm just saying that's the range, though, for a guy that's a low area target guy like Stefon Diggs now. Is it 16? Is it 32? Is it 40? I understand it. I think there's opportunity in Washington. I think that's obvious. I think Jaden Daniels, we like him. It raises the ceiling or the floor for Daniels to me. Possession guy that can catch the ball. I think this is one of the biggest full PPR situations where Diggs is somewhat valuable there, kind of moderately valuable at half, and not valuable at all in the standard league format. So I'm not trying to poo-poo him. I'm just saying we are like Keenan Allen had a peak. Now Keenan Allen became a possession guy, and I look at Diggs the same way.
I guess my question is, like, for the purpose of this segment, the ADP, he's been rising. Where do you think he lands? Because obviously,
yeah, I think that's a.
Let's say he 8th round, 9th round. Where do you anticipate that he would go?
I think 8th is probably a good landing
spot.
So
do you spend the pick on a guy that doesn't have a ceiling in the 8th?
That's my point.
Or do you spend a pick on another guy we're talking about?
Here's
Stribling.
perfect. Here's a perfect example. Okay, yeah, Stribling. That's great. That's a good counter, because I was going to bring up Alec Pierce and Kai Lemon. They're going in the 8th round right now.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I would take both of those.
Of course. Like, there's a ceiling. And even though Makai Lemon is injured and maybe he doesn't get involved.
But Diggs in the 10th?
Yeah,
sure.
Maybe Diggs doesn't make it to the 8th then.
I mean, would you take – Mike, let me put you on the spot here.
Okay.
This will be a decision you'll easily be able to make. Pat Bryant, with all the glazing going on in the last 2 days.
Oh, man.
Or Stefon Diggs in the 10th round.
I think the ceiling discussion is very, very fair, because it's like Stefon Diggs probably – I think he can get over 1,000 yards again, and I think he could be 5 to 7 touchdowns around there. Stefon Diggs is definitely a safer bet on a week-to-week basis for like your second flex play. That's what we're not talking about the wide receiver 2 on your team. We're talking about a bye week fill-in. We're talking about a second flex, just a guy who could go right into your lineup. That will be better, in my opinion, than like scraping the waiver wire. Heading into Sunday, you're like, oh, I got to find a play. Stefon Diggs is going to be much better than
there is definitely a place for that. Where I love those players mid-season, where I've dealt with injury or I took my swing at the big guys, and now I need someone to plug a second flex. And it's like, oh, he can go in there and he'll have 8 or 9 targets. That's fine. But when I'm in the draft, I'm just looking at guys that are way, way later.
Well, talk
Quentin
about
Johnson in the 9th, or Concepcion in the 10th, or Jaden Higgins in the 11th, or
Denzel
Boston in the 12th. I would rather take a shot on those type of players.
Would you rather have Michael Wilson or Stefon Diggs?
Wilson.
Okay. That makes sense. DeJon Stribling, wide receiver for the 49ers, has been moving up. We're looking at ADP risers right now on Performance Climbers. Stribling was in the 12th and 13th. Now he's in the 11th on Yahoo. 33rd pick in the NFL draft. We know what the situation is in San Francisco on a regular basis with injuries, but all the reports on Stribling, all the highlights on Stribling have been positive. Picking up things in a hurry, according to Shanahan. Clay Kubiak said he's been able to handle multiple responsibilities early. Fairly extensive role early on. We lost Ricky Pearsall. We lost Christian Kirk. Evans is the oldest drafted player in the top 6 rounds, basically. Deebo Samuel. Deebo's interesting because they're saying he's getting all of the work, like he's splitting wide receiver running back room again. It made me kind of forget, like last year, Deebo was not a part of the taking snaps at running back situation. But where are you with Stribling and taking a shot on him?
I think he absolutely has to have a shot taken on him. Brock Purdy is a very good quarterback. Like to me, I put him in the certainly top half quarterback, but probably a tier higher than most people put him. That's why I've been kind of into Mike Evans. He's obviously a great red zone weapon. Brock throws touchdowns, but Evans is 33 going on 700 years into his soft tissue is just brittle. He's already dealing with the quad issue. I mentioned yesterday he was back to practice. He's working on the side. He's not full practice yet. I wanted to take shots on Ricky Pearsall. So, like, this offense, they need someone.
Ricky
Mouse. They lost Juwan Jennings. They lost Ricky Pearsall. Mike Evans.
Where'd I go?
They will lose at some point. And so, yeah, Stribling is he was drafted to be an important part. He's already rolling with the ones. And the reports, like Grant Cohn, I don't know what you think of him. He's, not everyone's favorite 49ers reporter. But he's saying he's the best wide receiver at camp, full stop.
Well, and there's an opportunity there. I mean, the other pass catchers that are trustworthy in San Francisco are all older.
Yes.
So, that includes Kittle, right? Kittle looks really good. Like, he should be back out there, but that is not uncommon to start the year strong. That's where Stribling, I think, I doubt he has a breakout week 1 through 4. But as the year goes on, I mean, we used to see this with vintage Larry Fitzgerald. The first half of the year for Fitz was higher than average, better than expected. Second half slowed down. I would expect similar things from potentially Kittle and.
Ooh. You're saying starts with Mike Evans, ends with Stribling.
Well,
I didn't know if I should have cut you off or not.
Breaking news.
Brooks said safe for news. Get out of here, Brooks.
Brooks, we're not doing a news segment. Did you hear me? I have a bunch of news to talk about, but it will not be in a segment.
I mean, this guy's going to rise in ADP now.
Kyler Murray has already been named the starting quarterback.
There was too much good news coming out about J.J. McCarthy. That's honestly what it seems like. It was like reporters are starting to say, look, the last couple of practices, McCarthy's been winning. And then he's like, I got to get out ahead of this.
This is terrible for Minnesota.
Ooh.
Like the potential negative outcome. It could be great. Sorry, let me completely start over. It's great for Justin Jefferson. It's great for that discussion we had a couple days ago about Jefferson and maybe it was yesterday. I don't even know what days are anymore. But the potential outcome in Minnesota is pretty rough because now if Murray fails and then JJ comes in and is just JJ, you're down to 0 quarterbacks again. And I imagine Murray will be okay. But you feel better about Jefferson now? Moderately.
The like we've said, the information about the quarterback battle has been very, very difficult to sift through. As my take on everything is, I don't know that it's very rare to see an impartial view of what is going on in Minnesota. I feel like
a lot of baggage in the
I feel like people have already decided they don't like J.J. McCarthy, so whenever Kyler does something great, they're going to report on it. Or there's that J.J. McCarthy still has his supporters, and they're not going to say anything when Kyler Murray does anything good. It's been very difficult to navigate, but this had to happen.
This is
you have to pick one and say, okay, you're at this point we think you're the best shot. You get all the snaps with the ones now. We can't keep splitting this crap up. The season is like 3 weeks away.
Yeah, the whole thing where they were going to take this all the way down to the wire. I'm so happy they're not. In either direction, you've got to give your team a starting quarterback to practice through the next couple weeks before you start the season.
And this is what we thought was going to happen all along. This is why I hated this guy won this practice, this guy won that practice, because
so did Kevin O'Connell.
The coach knows where he's headed. Kyler had never played in the offense. JJ had. It's not about what you can do during practice. It's about what you can do during the game. As a much more established veteran quarterback, Kyler gets the shot. It's good for Addison. It's good for Jefferson. It's good for the offense.
Overall, I agree, but we need now. The information really matters because I think I had shared it with you guys. I can't remember. There was a Minnesota beat reporter where it finally felt like, okay, we're getting real news, because he came out and basically said, I don't care about who's winning, who's not winning this practice. He's like, they both have not been great.
Right.
Like, that is the true key story is both are struggling severely. Kyler against the ones. J.J. McCarthy's looked good, but then he struggled sometimes against the twos. So you have to make this move as the team, but this will be a follow
you
now.
Feel like
what's
there won't be
on.
as much bias in the report.
Yes, because now it's just directly towards Kyler Murray. How does he actually look? Because after our discussion, yesterday talking Jefferson and Drake London, it's like, man, I'm nervous. I'm nervous, and I need training camp to talk me back in.
So circling back to Stribling, I think he's going to start right away. I think he's very interesting. He's a perfect late-round target because he doesn't have the same type of – I think Carnell Tate's a great ADP value right now. Jordan Tyson probably is a great ADP value. There are, Jacoby Lane's another late-round shot to go with DeJon Stribling. I think this is an interesting guy. I don't think the ADP moves up much more. It could be like a preseason highlight reel situation that does move him up the ranks. But
I also don't think it's out of – like I love Carnell Tate. He is my current by far rookie wide receiver leader. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility that at the end of the year Stribling is the best rookie wide receiver. He has the opportunity. He has a great head coach. And he's got physical tools. Like the way that Debo was used by Shanahan to get the ball in his hands and let him do what he can do physically, that reminds me a lot of Stribling, not in the big body tackle breaker, but he's 4.36. Like scheme him some of these plays where he gets the balls in his hand and just open space.
Do you have any concern that, at least in recent memory, so like John Lynch has been the GM since 2017.
yes,
They have not drafted very well.
I have huge concern over that.
So, I mean, like while we're getting all the, the tire pumps are just blowing this Stribling thing up, are we confident that San Francisco
Kalen
actually
Black,
got a pick?
Kalen,
Right?
I mean, it's great that he's the 33rd pick or something like that, like a high second rounder. That doesn't mean that they did a good job. He was not someone that I think was super highly touted. Like my Felix model has him with a good score with the draft capital, but when you take that out and you just have the pure talent score, it isn't something where it's like, man, that guy should be the 33rd pick. So yeah, there's question marks, but the opportunity, the offense, and the draft costs you nothing. Like just go ahead and take a shot.
Last name to throw out there on performance climbers, Malik Nabers. Obviously, we understand why that ADP is moving. He's gone up above Olave and Tet McMillan on Sleeper in the 3rd round. He was in the 4th. He's moving up on Yahoo as well. He's on track to play week 1, barring setbacks.
Man, it's tough because I think about like our show yesterday. The top 10 wide receivers, and as soon as we got to like Jefferson, it was like Drake London. These awesome guys.
After the CeeDee Lamb tier break?
To me, after the CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, the top 4, I think, are better than I put CeeDee Lamb right there. And then it's like these are awesome guys. Jefferson and London and A.J. Brown. It's like Nabers, like, I don't know, man. Nabers is right there. He's got very little competition.
Starting doesn't necessarily mean he's back to full form, and there have been questions about the offense. Do they concern you? I mean,
yeah, Matt Nagy concerns everyone.
It's not Nagy alone either. It's Nagy and Greg Roman combo.
Oh man,
these circus.
Can they like cancel each other out though?
No,
you don't think two wrongs make a right?
No, this is more of a square root situation.
Yeah,
like we have
an exponential gain or decline, I should say.
Did you guys see that Adam Gase has a job?
Yeah, he's way down on the.
He's on the Chargers.
Offensive specialist somewhere down on the Chargers.
The Chargers.
Who is giving these people jobs?
That seemed like a pity job. He was so far down on the coaching list where it's like, okay, dude, you need a check.
But when it is literally just an injury, I hate it. I hate the analysis because I don't have the insight that the team has. But based off of the risk and the profile, in the 3rd round, I'm happy to draft Malik Nabers.
I think everyone is, and I don't think he stays there. I think when drafts come around, he's going to be drafted.
Is second? I think second round is
second round is Rashee Rice, Nico Collins.
We have
Drake
no
London.
Dart Neighbors data basically.
Right.
Ever.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. It's wild. All right, that was Performance Climbers brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade. Let's take a break and we'll jump into, I guess some news, and then we'll
what?
No, just like passing news, and then we'll get into rankings. J.K. Dobbins got hurt. Sean Payton said he'll be fine.
Now, I will say, he said he's not going to miss a game. He guaranteed he's not missing a game.
Which he is still not a liar.
Still not, I guess, a liar. He did get injured in practice and leave with a trainer, but he's fine.
Christian McCaffrey given the day off with tightness. Just managing CMC, according to Clay Kubiak.
Yeah, that seems fine.
Josh Jacobs is going to be out for at least another week with the groin injury.
These groins, man.
People
got to start doing that butterfly stretch more.
I was really talking to.
You think
they're not doing
that one?
I think they're obviously they're
Quads,
skipping it.
Hammy, calf. Anything else we should stretch? No, coach.
I do find myself like I want I want to be fully confident in Josh Jacobs.
Dude.
But when you mix the legal stuff got me out on him to start the offseason, and now he's banged up and he's had problems staying healthy. I mean, last year was no exception to that. He missed with a knee injury, he missed with a knee and ankle, and then he was inactive to end the year. He was a machine the first 10 weeks.
The world deserves Marshawn Lloyd.
Does it?
Oh, man.
Yes. And let me update that. The world deserves to see what Marshawn Lloyd can actually do on a football field.
Yeah, I mean, the world deserved to see that with Kendre Miller as well.
Yeah, well, pick one.
We don't know. We don't always get what we deserve.
So, and then Mike would like us to talk about the fact that
Well, it was all this negative stuff.
Pat Bryant had been
I like how it's written in our doc.
Yeah.
Pat Bryant rules per everyone. Obviously, Mike put that in there.
I'm just sourcing.
Pat Bryant has been a training camp highlight guy.
The last 2 days on social media were like unbelievable
For
Pat
everyone
Bryant.
to make sure that they know, Pat Bryant was a rookie wide receiver last year for the Broncos.
Yes, third rounder. But I'm saying, like, you have good beat reporters who give us good information, really steaming up Pat Bryant. Some of them even saying, like, not only is the wide receiver 3, but the transition to wide receiver 2 over the course of, it might happen this year during the
That would be
season.
over Sutton, and then
Yes.
Kay Adams said, how are you going to keep Pat Bryant off the field? And Sean Payton said, we're not.
Yeah.
So there you go. Pat Bryant, something to pay attention to. The big thing for me with that is, if it's Waddle and then Pat Bryant is stepping up into like a meaningful role, which he was hurt last year, didn't get a lot of opportunities. That's 2 big weapons that Bo Nix is picking up this offseason potentially. So
Sure.
let's get into the ranks.
Running backs.
All right. We are counting down the running backs 20 through 11, our consensus rankings. What makes an RB2? Over the last decade, running backs finishing in this range, 20 through 11, 70% average 17 or more opportunities per game. 77% had 1,100 or more yards, which, that's a lot. And then 77% had 8 or more total touchdowns. We'll start with Mike's guy, DeAndre Swift.
Not to be confused with a my guy.
Number 20.
But
No, this is a Mike guy.
yeah, that's
So
fine.
this offseason.
That's fine. I'm in on DeAndre Swift, man.
Well, you're in on the offense.
Yep.
You're
Check.
in on the forever dismissing DeAndre Swift, yet him producing part of his career. Now, he has always been a running back too. 18, 19, 22, 23, 19, 14.
He got close this year or last year.
I don't know how a player to me looks so good and so bad on different plays. That's one of the things that is weird about DeAndre Swift. And it's also weird when you have played on, 3 different franchises in a 6-year career and teams don't love you. Now, we thought maybe he would get dismissed or not used by Ben Johnson, and that's not been the case.
Like, everything is set up for DeAndre Swift of offensive guru. Offensive guru came in and said, this offensive line is garbage. Here is money. Fix the problem. And they did. It doesn't always fix, but what they did, it worked out. Their rush success rate went from 21st to 3rd. Yards before contact, that's a huge one. That went from 26th to 6th. Their run block rank on PFF went from 14th to 3rd. And DeAndre Swift still goes in the middle rounds, and he's the pass catcher. I like Kyle Monangai. I think he's a fun, interesting player towards the end of drafts. You can get him much later than Swift if you're wanting to do I want a piece of the Bears running back committee. I'll take the later one. That's fine. But I think that Swift is going to be the leader of it, and we're just going to see more of what we saw last year, potentially even better, not just because of Swift, because of Caleb and his command, the projection of what can Caleb do in the second year of this offense, assuming Luther Burden is healthy. This thing should be – it can easily be a top 5 offense in the league, and Swift is the leader. And he's going to score a ton of fantasy points.
Yeah, I mean, he is as undesired by the masses as possible because you just don't see a path for him to really finish as a league-winning top 5 back. He's been in the league long enough. We know what he is. He's a running back too. He's solid. He's good. He's out there for most games, which is great. He's a good pick in fantasy football. He's not a league winner, but he's a good pick. However, we talk about some of these guys behind, like when Swift missed week 9, Monangai was the running back 3 in fantasy football, had a ton of work. This is a great offense, a great offensive line, and a system that wants to run the ball. But obviously the other thing can happen too. Like should Monangai get injured, that is how Swift becomes a league winner.
Yeah.
Because
there is that too.
I think the red zone is an interesting conversation there. They basically split the work last year. It is something where Swift, I think him coming off the field half the time in the red zone is a limit to the ceiling.
Yeah, he had 13.2 points per game last year. Like that's 0.2 points behind Saquon Barkley. And I mean that was more points per game than Ashton Genty. And it's like but where he's going is not in the first or the second round. He's such a good pick to me.
77% of RB2s have 8 or more touchdowns. He was over that mark last year. Number 19 is Bucky Irving. I think one of the most
polarizing. Not even polarizing.
Dude, yeah.
I mean, just
wild card.
Uncertain wild card players. He's only 23 years old, guys. I mean, Bucky is being drafted at RB19, so we're exactly at ADP there on him.
The latest reports, because I think if we knew Bucky was going to get the workload that he got at the end of the rookie season that he started to get for his sophomore season, Bucky would be, probably a low-end RB1 as far as where he's being drafted. Now, the question is, while they lost Rachaad White, they brought in Kenny Gainwell, and what is the utilization going to be? The early reports from camp are that the vast majority of carries are going to Bucky Irving. He is like their running back. However, there's a lot of 2 running back sets now with Gainwell on the field. Gainwell is doing a ton of the passing work, and he so far in the last report that I saw in camp, he's getting more receiving work than Bucky. So that really does nerf.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. That's Gainwell's so good at it, but it nerfs Irving's upside if he loses a ton of passing work to Kenny Gainwell.
Yeah, I think we want to see the between the tackles runner that Bucky was as a rookie come back to light, because there's going to be opportunity if the offensive line, which is ranked 5th, and Baker's healthy, and you've got Zach Robinson. Like there's a lot of upside to, I think Bucky's a great pick if they're a top 10 offense. I think he's a bad pick if they're a bottom 3rd offense. Like a lot of it depends on the surrounding situation to me.
Yes, the hard part for Bucky is the talent is there. How will he be used? Like if we're saying a lot of the running back receptions are going to Kenny Gainwell, that's a negative for Bucky. And then last year, obviously not a complete full season for Bucky, not a single carry inside the 5. And if this coaching staff is deciding we don't want Bucky doing the inside the 5, he's not our goal line running back, and Kenneth Gainwell is more of the pass catching back than Bucky, like you want the guy who's in on first and second down, because that's where the true fantasy points are. But if that's just 20 to 20, you have a really big problem for his ceiling.
Here's something interesting about all the players going in the range of Bucky Irving, which, by the way, it's Travion Henderson, but he's losing first and second down work. It's Travis
Henderson's not.
Travis Etienne Jr. He's losing 3rd down work, which is what Bucky's doing. It's Judkins losing 3rd down work, which Bucky's doing. It's Bashal Tootin, who we think might lose goal line and 3rd down work, which is what Bucky might do.
And then there's DeAndre Swift.
And then there's Swift. So Swift just seems
that's why I like Swift, because you can have question marks about Swift, but he's almost 2 rounds cheaper than all those guys we were just talking about.
Yep. And
so are you
Cam
in?
is basically in the same area as well, and I think I'd take Cam Skattebo over Bucky.
So that's the question is, when you're on the clock and Bucky's
there was some negative news about
Cam.
Yeah. About Cam Skattebo, that he's coming off in all 2-minute drills to Tracy.
That would be.
I don't like that.
Really bad. Oh, that would be Nagy. Yeah. No, that math checks out. That math completely checks out. Of course he'll come off. He's their best weapon in a 2-minute drill. So you gotta outthink yourself, you know? You gotta
They will
make sure.
never see it coming.
No.
They'll put Tracy on the field and be like, they are never gonna give that guy the
Tyrone-
ball. Why is it still red?
Because
Why
here's
is
why.
it still
here's
red?
why is because the hype train, I have to hit the button again to stop it, but the red alert I don't, and I'm supposed to remember it all every time.
Does Workman's Comp cover UV burns from panic alarms?
It's my fault, Mike. Al would like you to know it's my fault.
But Tyrone Tracy will be the 2-minute back because he shouldn't
See,
be.
that's why I get really scared with everything on that offense. It's why I get scared about Nabers being as good as he should be. It's why I get scared about Dart getting to do what he wants to do. I'm very scared of the Giants.
Well, I've had this deck of playing cards that has
Oh,
not left
gosh.
the table. So looking forward to busting those out
Yeah.
for
So-
the budget
But I
magician.
do like Scat more than Irving.
I think
for
this
sure.
is worth bringing up for the Foot Clan because we were talking about how in those early rounds, when we were going through, when we get to the Justin Jefferson and we get to the Drake London, and it's like obviously everyone at that point in the draft, they're great, but there's a lot of questions and that there's ways that it can go poorly, whereas there were really, really good running backs instead there. But now when we get to this point where we're like, I don't know about Bucky or Cam or a lot of these questions, Henderson, the wide receivers that are there are Devontae Smith and Ladd McConkey and Emeka Egbuka and Zay Flowers. It's like, to me, I'm looking strategically at just the 2026 draft. I like the wide receivers here more than the running backs here.
Almost like there's the running back dead zone, Jay.
Yeah, basically. And it's moved up.
I wouldn't say that I feel like any of the guys we talked about so far, including this next name, I wouldn't feel comfortable as my RB2 though. Like they're not in that. I'm not that level of afraid.
I agree that I wouldn't be uncomfortable, but I just think that the odds are higher for some of these guys that it goes wrong. Ironically, this guy, I think he's pretty darn good.
Javonte Williams. I am the highest on Javonte at 15. Oh,
That's fine.
I'm so proud.
He was a running back 11 last year.
Solid. Solid is the way to describe
I'm
Javonte.
very happy for Javonte.
There's nothing spectacular about Javonte's game anymore. It's just he's a great running back. He can handle a large volume. He had his best year points per game wise last year, 14.1. He missed one game. His workload, his efficiency, everything went to a place where we were like, week in and week out, oh, look at Javonte again. Oh, this is an offense we love.
He's not good in the receiving game, but he is used in the receiving game, which is enough.
It was like Chuba.
He
Chuba
is-
would get past the ball all the time and do nothing with it, fall
He is
over.
the goal line back, he is the passing downs back, and he's the between the 20s back. So he is a true workhorse back for one of the offenses we're targeting. He's not necessarily the most explosive player where you're going to have some breakaway amazing season, but he's not aged out either. He's not an old man. So to me, it's like get a piece of the Cowboys offense, get a piece of the Bengals offense, especially when those two running backs have no competition on the depth chart.
He had 8 total touchdowns inside the 5 for the previous 4 years. Last year he had 10.
Do you guys have
Big news. J.K. Dobbins is back out on the field in pads.
That's right, babe. I told you. No news.
Pretty remarkable.
nothing to see
Pretty
here.
remarkable.
Nothing to see.
Don't worry
here.
about it at all.
I won't.
But you should. Breece Hall.
I think Jaden Blue is worth talking about because he was an absolute he was nothing last year. There was the Gucci cleat gate where the rookie showed up and thought he was hot stuff, and it seemed like from that moment on the team had to humble him. But the news on Blue is much, much better this year. So I'm just curious if you guys have any concern for coming
None.
in.
I want to yawn so much through what you're saying. I just
Okay.
want to
I don't care at all.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah, and it's not. It's just those guys are just ancillary. I need a blow. Is it Mava or Blue?
When
or,
you hear
Right,
all the
Malik
reports,
Davis is still
or
there
Malik
too.
Davis,
when you
I don't
hear
care
the
about any
reports
those
of
guys.
like, I had to learn a big lesson rookie year, and I've learned it. Like that's okay, great, good for you,
Here's what
buddy.
Javonte did. Had a great season. They paid him more money.
Yeah,
I mean, that's,
he's the guy. I mean, if you want to talk like, okay, an injury happens to Javonte, is it Jaden Blue? But we're not even sure it's Jaden Blue. I have zero worries that someone's going to like take a chunk of work while Javonte's healthy away from Javonte.
Here is a player that I am the highest of the three of us by a lot, and I'm just really close to planting my flag on. Breece Hall at 17. I got him at 13. Jason at 17. Mike at 20. Mike a little bit behind ADP. Jason right there. I'm ahead. Look, he got the bag this offseason, 3-year extension, guaranteed money, 1,400 yards from scrimmage in an offense last year that was an utter embarrassment. But one of my favorite things I've read this offseason is just the fact that the drumbeat has been, one, I like the way the offensive line is trending. Two, they paid him the money. We don't have this cloud over the head of Breece where it's like they want him out of town. And then they've talked about featuring him more. They've literally like, oh, is it Braylon Allen?
Imagine.
You know, but they've literally talked about featuring Breece Hall, which they've kind of done against their will, it feels like at times. I think he is.
I love the pick of yours of liking Breece this year. I think he's going to be very involved. He's great as a pass catcher. We saw Genty last year propped up by Geno just from the dink and dunks, the little drop-offs, and that's Breece. One of his best parts of his game is taking those little dump-offs. And he's going to play Friday.
He's still explosive. I mean, he has big plays.
All the Jets starters playing Friday.
4th in explosive rush rate, Breece Hall. 10th in forced missed tackle rate. 36% of his carries, 5+ yards. They knew what they were doing. They knew what the Jets were doing. They didn't have a passing game. And he still had success. He has always had success.
They should have one of the more changed offensive lines. So there's and I think there's a lot of we're tired with Breece Hall. After he was running back 4 as a sophomore, we got too hyped and he disappointed a couple years in a row. But right now where he's being drafted, there is upside where he can finish as an RB1. Obviously, he's not on a great team, not a great offense. The scoring opportunity is not going to be there, but he's explosive. He's using the passing game. He's their goal line back. He's basically everything that some of these other guys are, just not on a good offense.
All right, we'll take a quick break and come back with the rest of the rankings. All right, Cam Skattebo comes in at 16 on the rankings. We did just talk about him quite a bit. It was awesome as a rookie. You know, he was number 1 in the entire NFL in terms of the percentage of his rushing yards after contact. Like he got it done. He could fight through tackles. Everything you saw on the college tape, he just translated right into doing it to, linebackers and, corners and everything else at that.
Only Ken Walker had a higher forced missed tackle rate.
Yeah, I mean, he was awesome. I mean,
he brought it up too of like that's his way of avoiding punishment. When we were chatting with him, it was like, if he hits you first, then his legs don't take punishment. He doesn't take that damage. He is totally fine to damage his head so long as he's saving his legs.
Yeah, and he was just great. 17.4 fantasy points per game in his starts. But I just am at this place where I don't know how prescriptive anything they did last year was. Tracy,
That's
how
fair.
often do you involve him? What does Dart in this offense look like? I don't know the answer. Matt Nagy, Greg Roman, Brian Callahan, that trio scares the living daylights out of me. They're also going to be
trio.
Yeah, I mean, but Cam is
Triforce of sour.
we were so close to Cliff here, but Cam is just he's the kind of guy that more momentum in the game, more opportunities in the game, he wears people down. So I hope that this offensive brain trust can recognize that and not take him off the field.
I could easily
just to say that you have a third down back.
Yeah, I could see it happening down the stretch where the choice is kind of taken away from them. I would not be surprised if you come out and week 1 and for the first month of the season, it is a 3-way committee. They get Devin Singletary his, and then Tyrone Tracy. Tyrone Tracy is the 2-minute back and some passing downs back, and first and second down is Cam. But I do think as the season goes on, kind of what happened in his rookie season, you just see like we can't really take this guy off the field. He can do it all. He's really, really good. So I expect him to have a better second half than the first half. he's a scary pick to me because there are ways it could easily go wrong, even though love the talent, love the player. And if you had the right coordinator, like, and maybe they do, maybe they just say, this is a team that wants to run the ball for sure. They want to run the ball. I said that they have a good defense early in the offseason. They didn't last year. I think they're going to have a good defense. Yeah,
that's bold.
Time will tell.
They're not. The problem with that is best laid plans for teams that are underdogs a lot. It can take away your running game.
Yeah.
Are they going to be above 500?
But that's the thing with Skattebo is that he should be involved in all three. He should be a pass catching back. That's like I know he's seen as this like
RB1.
No way.
Okay, I want to know when we get to a name today on the 20 through 11 where you might be comfortable with him as your RB1.
No way would I.
If you went heavy wide receiver or played onesie in the draft.
If I was his offensive coordinator, I would take a running back 4 because I would just give him the ball 30 times.
And the injury is still he is still recovering from major injury.
Sure. The earlier on, if if we can pull any of the trends from 2017, he was the OC talking Matt Nagy. He was the OC of the Kansas City Chiefs. That was one of the Kareem Hunt years where it was Kareem Hunt led the league in rushing.
You don't dismiss that for Andy Reid though?
Well, I just hold on.
Okay.
So he led tons of 272 carries, 63 targets. Matt Nagy parlays that into becoming the head coach of the Chicago Bears, which to his credit had incredible success in year 1. Running back wise, it was Jordan Howard was at 250 carries, only 26 targets because it's Jordan Howard. The next year we had Montgomery at 242 carries, 35 targets, and then that followed up with Montgomery 247, 68 targets. So I'm saying it's not out of the it's not like when we're looking at Monken where it's like there's just the stretch, he's got a guy who for sure carries the ball, and then he has a guy who for sure catches the ball. He utilizes or at least has used his guys sort of correctly. We'll see if he can continue that. I
definitely think the ceiling case for Skattebo is an RB1. Yes, he can easily finish as an RB1. It's just a scary process of where you're putting your trust.
Well, 15 is Jeremiyah Love of the Arizona Cardinals, 21 years old. Everything you could ever want in a feature back skill-wise. Elite in every way. He is a dominant receiver. But you're on the Cardinals. And you're on a Cardinals offense that has Tyler Algier. I haven't heard a whisper about a play from James Conner this offseason. Maybe you guys...
I think he's still hurt.
Okay. Well, maybe that explains it. Because
that's
all I've seen is Algier and Jeremiyah Love sharing work.
Which is an issue, at least the way that they have publicly talked about James Conner. They're still talking about him as he is very much in the plans for the running back room, and he's not even
I've seen him out on the practice field. That's why I'm confused. Not playing, but talking to coaches and stuff. So, and in pads. So I'm a little bit confused about, there's a lot of rumors about Conner filling in gaps in different teams. Maybe the Lions with the MCL sprain to Pacheco go after James Conner to be a backup to Gibbs. Situations like that where the running back rooms are thinned out a little bit.
I think that
when Marshawn Lloyd inevitably gets hurt,
that you've had Conner recovering from his injury, and then Trey Benson continues to be hurt. I think that probably weighs in right now of the Cardinals. Do we have a third running back that we know we can at least get on the field?
Genty was the RB 6 in ADP last year, first round pick. Bijan was the 3rd running back as a rookie prospect. Zeke was the 3rd running back off the board as a rookie prospect. Love is now 13. You aren't paying.
I don't hate it.
A ton of money. If you trust LaFleur at all in making decisions that are advantageous to his team scheme wise, the improvement from Gannon to LaFleur on offense. If you go, what is that? Rational coaching?
Yes. The fallacy of rational coaching.
Your path to victory is Jeremiyah Love getting as much work as possible at 21 years old with the 3rd pick in the draft. I guess I'm just curious if that discount is enough for you to take a shot at it.
I'm okay with it. I've spent most of the offseason being kind of prepped and concerned to be completely out on Jeremiyah Love. Running back 13, even the rankings and projections is slightly behind that, trying to factor in some dumbness from what the coaches are doing. But prospect-wise, is like I think Love was a better prospect than Genty was. I think he is a better prospect than Bijan was. Like, this is a true elite player to me. And so Bijan went as the running back 3 for ADP wise when he was a rookie, and it's not all that dissimilar to me. Like this, it's not going to be a good team. It's a highly drafted running back. They should fully feature him. Now, he got Algiered a bit. Ironically, in the world we are in, Jeremiyah Love will get Algiered a little bit. That's the question. Is like when they get inside the 5. Who's going to be in there? Is it going to rotate? Is it going to be Algier, or will it for sure be Love? Because if it's for sure Love, running back 13 is that's no problem.
It's not for sure Love. I mean, it's going to be at the very best. I think it'll be a rotation. They will bring Tyler Algier in on the goal line in certain situations because he's good. They did it with Bijan. Even into Bijan's career, not just when he was a rookie, because Tyler Algier's
not Michael
good.
Carter with Breece Hall.
Right. And going back to Breece Hall, if you look at, LaFleur was the OC during Breece Hall's rookie season, where he wasn't even as highly drafted a guy, and they had Michael
Breece
Carter.
Was a second rounder.
He eventually took over.
Breece was averaging 16.4 fantasy points a game before he got injured in his rookie season, on pace for 200 carries, 62 targets. I believe that Love will get enough work. He will get vultured on the goal line too much. He will also not be someone that in his rookie season is getting 275 carries on the ground. He will be more around 200 carries, and you're hoping he gets like 60 or 70 targets. If
70 would be insane.
It would be.
I
would
think
be awesome.
that might be the argument for Love.
Yes.
Entirely. You're not just underdogs in every single one of your games. You're double-digit underdogs in 4 of your first 6 and 7 and 8.5 point in the other 2. Algier's not going to be out there on these comeback attempts, right? Isn't it going to be Jeremiyah Love catching like check down Charlie situation?
It should be Love. And so if he gets 200 rushing attempts and we'll call it 65 targets, he should beat an ADP of being the running back 13. He should finish as an RB1.
Historically, since 2015, here's running backs drafted in the top 10 of the NFL draft. Barkley finished at 2, Zeke at 2, Bijan was 9, Genty, it felt really bad, and it was 12. McCaffrey was 11, Trent Richardson was 8, Leonard Fournette was 8, and Todd Gurley, even coming off of the ACL injury, finished at 7. So, I mean, historically, this is the top 10 running back in the NFL draft is a great bet for fantasy. RB13, I think I'm in.
Genty is why Love is going to be a fine pick this year. Like, Genty made everyone get too hot and bothered. He was the running back 6 drafted last year, and he was a bust, even though he finished as an RB1 because he didn't return on that value. You're not drafting Jeremiyah Love in the first round. He's absolutely fine where he's going right now.
Number 14 is Kyren Williams, the hotly debated Kyren Williams. I got him at 19, Jason at 12, Mike at 16.
Yeah, just right.
I mean, Kyren's a very good player. He's not an explosive breakaway type of guy. He's a high opportunity
He's a grinder.
The big argument for me is just look at the data. This is the team that was pressing for the Super Bowl pre-bye week. Kyren was getting 72% of the running back opportunities. Post-bye week, it was 57%. Yes, he performs statistically for fantasy, but it's a law of averages thing for me where if the team has made a decision to share the running back workload, you're going to have a reduced effectiveness for Kyren at some point in time. I think Corum is awesome. All the offseason reports have been great. So I think there will be a slightly reduced running back workload for Kyren. So I have him slightly below ADP. I mean, I'm 4 spots below ADP. I don't think that's weird because you have to decide what you think the team is going to do.
It would seem like you won't have any Kyren on your team, though.
I will have no Kyren on my team. No, I will have lots of Blake Corum on my team. Yeah, Corum was he won't be a my guy because he's still too I don't think he takes over the job from Kyren. I don't think that's in the realm of possibilities is Corum becomes the RB1. I think Kyren stays the RB1, but I think you've seen a progression of running back opportunities reduced for Kyren Williams, and that's something I don't like at his ADP.
Jay,
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Kyren Williams.
I ceded my time to the fine analyst on my left.
Kyren Williams is a very good running back who is part of the heart and soul of this team, that is their lead back, that is paid, that gave him the contract to be the man. Blake Corum is very good. And don't hear what I'm not saying. Corum is a good fantasy pick. He is. I put out a tweet of like the insurance backs. He's a league winner. Should Kyren go down, Corum is awesome. Corum can be more involved and Kyren still be a fantastic pick in fantasy. And that's what's going to happen. Corum is going to be more involved and be fine, and Kyren is going to be a good pick in fantasy. He's been a running back one the last 3 years. He's on one of, if not the best offense in the league, right? You guys, he's in that total upper echelon, especially when the only reason I wouldn't put the Rams necessarily with the Bengals and the Cowboys and the Lions is because their defense is good. But that's good for the running back. That means at the end of the game, they're running the ball more and more and more opportunities for Kyren. When Corum was super involved at the end of the year, and they both had 11 carries inside the 5, like they were both used as goal line backs, Kyren was averaging 14.5 fantasy points a game. Yeah. Kyren turned his 11 into 6 touchdowns, while Corum turned his 11 into 3 touchdowns. Kyren is not going away. Kyren is the leader, and he will score a ton of fantasy points. Will he be the 85% bell cow, the Christian McCaffrey? No, but that doesn't mean he's a bad pick where he's going right now in fantasy drafts. He's just like, I'll tell you what, would I be comfortable with Kyren Williams as my running back one? Absolutely. I see him as a guaranteed running back one for fantasy.
He seems like,
and that's where, I'm not alone, and I addressed all of the things you said when I spoke, so I don't need to go back and do it again. He's being drafted at RB15 outside the RB1 category. It's not the consensus opinion that he's an RB1.
He has to be a favorite among running backs for double-digit touchdowns.
Certainly.
He is.
Certainly.
The
He has to
DraftKings
they're going to be on the goal line. They scored 65 times last year.
And there's plenty to go around for a 1A and a 1B.
Yep. But, I think it will be the turning of the page towards a new paradigm in
Yeah, Kyle says his
Los
projection,
Angeles.
his line is 9.5.
Yep.
Touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, so that's not even receiving.
Yeah, I've got him 4 spots lower than ADP, so that's what I think of Corum. Jason's got him 3 spots higher than ADP. At 13 comes Josh Jacobs, 28 years old, dealing with the groin. We've all got him about the same spot.
Yeah, we'll see if he stays here.
Most touchdowns inside the 10 in the NFL over the last 2 years. Huge part of the offense. It's really, we can say all the jokes or whatever about, Marshawn Lloyd finally getting an opportunity. If Jacobs is healthy, they don't care about Marshawn Lloyd. This team cares about giving Jacobs the rock because he thrives on more and more opportunities, on being out there for his team. It's not a very messy situation outside of injury to me.
Is he healthy? He's dominant. Is he not healthy? He's not on the field. That to me, it's very simple. He's a goal line machine. They figured that out, and they score every time they give him the ball near the goal line. He was so consistent. He was I got to think he was.
First 9 weeks last year before injury, on pace for 21 touchdowns on the ground and 64 targets with 52 receptions.
Yeah,
that's just auto RB1.
I had him last year. It was our league of record team. I had the Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs. It seems hard to remember how good they were now in the first half of the year.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they were genuinely, unbelievably dominant. And then he got injured, dealt with that, kind of played through it when he shouldn't have, then got punished in the game. It was a weird, wacky end to the season
because of it.
But yeah, those first 9 weeks, he was the running back 5.
Favored in the first 6 weeks of the year, Green Bay is.
I will not argue anything about the touchdowns, but I'm curious of the just lack of explosive plays, and he's grinding it out. He's doing what the team wants him to do, but this is a situation that I think is primed for someone else to get more work than you're hoping.
Saquon Barkley comes in at 12.
Oh boy,
it's a nerve-wracking
yeah, it is
player to draft, but he's at 12. So Again, everybody here is our consensus rankings. Jason's taking the shot at 4 spots lower.
I don't feel
for
good
Saquon
about
Barkley.
it. So the
which, according to our Kyren Quorum analysis, means he hates him beyond all measure.
How do you respond to hating Saquon Barkley, Jason?
I would say that it's rare for a running back at 30 to get better than the year prior when they start to statistically lose a step. Now, there are rational thoughts on how it can happen. Last year, the injuries to Lane Johnson and the offensive line for the Eagles might be the reason why it wasn't the age to Barkley. It was the offensive line situation that caused Barkley to be less efficient. That makes
offense as a whole was pretty dry paper.
Patullo was a terrible offensive coordinator, and now they've got Mannion, and the offensive line should be better. Also, another humongous change for this offense is Jalen Hurts, who never was really under center. When he was under center, the offense was very good. Under center, play action, those things, they're really, really good for the running back position. So he is focusing on being under center much more. The offensive line is better. That's all great. But when you look at last year and you say, well, Saquon was inefficient because of Patullo, because of the offensive line, Tank Bigsby was awesome. When he got the ball, he didn't have any problems whatsoever behind that line. And what we've seen in camp, maybe it's, look, it's smart. Saquon's going to be 30. Don't just run him into the ground. But Tank has been more and more involved in camp. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this year it's going to be the Saquon show, but I think that Tank will get more than he has in the past, and Saquon has been getting the entirety of it. He's been getting the full Christian McCaffrey type of workload. So being 30 years old, having lost efficiency last year, and the potential for work to be seeded, that's why I'm scared. But I'm also terrified that Saquon could be, if you say could Saquon be the running back one this year? I'd say yeah, he could. He could end up with, 1,600 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns and still be involved in the passing game. But I bypass him in most drafts where he's going. He's being drafted as the running back 7, and I like other backs there.
You like Omarion Hampton more?
Yes.
Omarion Hampton comes in at 11 to round out today's episode. 23 years old, was great when he was on the field, but wasn't on the field a bunch last year. Mike, you're the lowest. The comments in the last 24 hours are the Twitter sphere's abuzz about Mike McDaniel saying that doing his trolling thing of bad news fantasy owners, good. I see all 3 of these guys, speaking of Vidal, Hampton, and Mitchell, performing at a high level.
But that's not possible.
No, nor is it customary for Mike McDaniel and what he does on the offensive play calling side. You remember the comments he had about I think it was Ollie Gordon, and when he's just he'll have either all of his snaps or some of his snaps or 0 snaps in the upcoming game.
Yeah, he's a troll.
He does like trolling the fantasy football community. I think it's very important. I'll say this. I think it's very important that Omarion Hampton establishes himself early in the season. That's what I think is important. Now, if you want to start the year against Arizona, Las Vegas, and be double-digit favorites in the first 2 games, that's an awesome opportunity to do that.
Establish it.
But I think Keaton Mitchell is kind of a player that Mike McDaniel wants to use in the passing game and really in inventive ways in this offense. I don't look at Vidal as a threat to Hampton if he's healthy.
No, Vidal is.
But I think I don't know what the real range of outcomes for Hampton is. So just tell me so I know whether to trade him or not.
I don't see Hampton. Well, I want you to trade him to me, so I would.
We were talking some trades yesterday.
I would make the bear case, but in truth, I think that there is a extreme likelihood that you get 18 touches a game for Hampton. And if Hampton's getting 18 touches a game behind a good offensive line,
he'll be great.
I think he will be great. This is a team where the defense is good, the offense is good, the offensive line is extremely improved, the offensive coordinator is improved. This is also an offensive coordinator in the past who had 2 top 5 running backs at the same time for fantasy on the same team. So I'm not worried about the other guys when it was Raheem Morris and Devon Achane. If you've got talent. Mostert, yes. What did I say? More? Yeah, the coach.
That's not the running back.
No. Mostert and Achane. So I pretty much love all the situation. I really liked the player coming out of college, which obviously the team did too. They spent a first-round pick on him, and he was very good. You could talk about there are different ways to spin all the deeper analytic numbers. I see people talk about how inefficient he was here, and then I see Look, the numbers that show he was the most efficient, just the best. It's like, just watch the tape. He was very good. He did things on his own, and he had very little to work with the offensive line. I think that the offensive line with the improvement at center and both tackles will be awesome.
Can he be a top 5 back?
Absolutely. Okay. I believe he can be
you
a top
believe
5
that, Mike?
back.
I do.
Okay.
I like my projection and ranking has me out on Hampton, and it's a real weird one of like everything is there. Everything is there for Hampton to be exactly what you want for fantasy football, and yet there's just the tiny little variables where you're like,
yeah, you have to kind of trust that, like,
makes me unsure.
Like Omarion Hampton's a first-round running back. Me and Jason fell in love with his
Yes.
collegiate tape, and you have
As to the Chargers.
You have to fundamentally believe that guy is much, much, much better than Kamani Vidal on a per-down basis for this team, and that will win out.
If you look at opportunities per game on year 2 running backs who were first-round picks, all of them, the opportunities per game were Rashad Penny was down at 7, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who turned out sucked, and we found out pretty quick.
He was a first-round running back too.
Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. These are all 14.
Okay.
He had 14 opportunities a game, still a pretty good amount. Everyone else was 16, 18, 19, 19, 20, 21, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23, 28. He's going to get the work,
Yeah.
and he's good.
So just maybe don't worry about the trolling by
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel. Let's do a couple mailbag questions.
Mailbag.
Pete in Jersey, should I keep Tet McMillan in the 4th or Tyler Warren in the 7th? What would you do?
Oh,
I would take Warren in the
I
7th.
would take Tyler Warren.
I lean Tet there,
Man,
but
with Alec,
I don't think you can make a wrong choice there.
Alec Pierce, did he or
Is Tet
did he?
going right
Tet's
around
going
there already?
right in the 4th.
Okay,
I mean,
so maybe
he's-
Warren.
He's at the 3-4 turn.
Warren's got to be going 5th, 6th, though, right?
Yeah.
What in
So-
the
Warren's
world's
5th.
going on with Alec Pierce?
So
Did he get a shot? Or did he the second shot? Did he not get
he
it?
did not get a second shot.
Why is it?
But
being
if he
reported that
did get
got
a
it?
second shot, it's normal, according to the doctors.
Either way, nothing to see here.
So I look at there is something to see there. I'm not going to stick my head in the sand. I don't want, like, there are no good vibes around Alec Pierce right now. The end. I mean, until he's on the field and looks like himself, which, by the way, 2 years in a row of leading the league in yards per reception, you kind of need your wheels. So and from what I understand, ankle is part of the running process. So
it is
Ankle's
connected
part
to
of
the
a
football.
wheel.
you know, it's the Tyler Warren thing. Like, the only thing I'll say about Tyler Warren that needs to be said is that when he didn't have MVP level Daniel Jones, he never hit double digits in fantasy production. That's, is a regular Daniel Jones versus MVP. I mean, they were an 8-1 team. They were dominating.
Yeah.
Are we going to see that again? I hope so. Tyler Warren, I saw some clips of him at camp this morning, and it was funny because everybody's commentary on him, and I kind of agree, even though I don't care, is that he makes running look exhausting. Like, that dude
Yeah.
he's not
That
fluid.
is really, really fair.
Yeah, and other comments are like, what you don't see here is how long it took Tyler Warren to catch his breath. Like, he is a rumbling,
Yeah.
a round mound of
It's
touchdown.
not
You know what I mean?
Fluent and smooth.
No, it's like, but when you get up to speed, it's great. It's just,
Carrying around 260 pounds.
yeah, it's not Loveland, right? It's
Right.
not Ingram or somebody or even Kyle Pitts. It's a big boy.
He reminds me of TJ Hawkinson, which
Yeah, that's fair.
It feels bad now, but TJ Hawkinson was, awesome, was a top 5 tight end 3 times. He was the tight end 2 once. But younger
Gronk
Hawkinson.
never looked like he really knew what he was doing running
no.
the football.
No. He
He
looks
just-
out of control at every moment.
out of control and blown up.
When you get a locomotive going, you can't stop it.
Can Warren go what's Warren's outlook for target percentage? With Michael Pittman gone.
I think he can easily have 25% target share.
I think he could too. Like I'm the Loveland Warren argument is like, it's fun to have that debate. Both are going to be awesome.
I think I'm finding myself really putting Tucker Kraft up into the Tyler Warren area mentally
You're
now.
speaking
because Tucker Kraft's
Mike's love language.
I think,
Yes.
I moved him early this morning. Tucker Kraft went up right at about the same production levels as Tyler Warren. One more question here from Nate in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Oh, bonjour.
Are we undervaluing Chris Godwin? With
Yeah.
Evans gone, I expect Ibuka to get more targets, but the same couldn't it be said of Chris Godwin?
I think we really might be. He's in the 8th round, and this is a player. Here's why we're undervaluing him. He's 30 years old, and he didn't look very good last year.
No, he didn't.
So it's like you don't expect
Those are
players.
good reasons to doubt somebody.
Those are good reasons to doubt him, but the doubt's already baked in. He's in the 8th
Yes,
round.
Yes.
So you're already paying for, he's not it. But in camp, the camp reports have been that Chris Godwin looks explosive, that he's been oftentimes the number 1 wide receiver, that there's been days where it's like he was easily the best receiver today. And so, yeah, in the 8th round, I think early in the offseason, I wouldn't have ever thought about drafting a share of Chris
Baker
Godwin.
likes Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
And in the 7 games before the major injury, he was 16 points a game in 2024. Last year's kind of a lost season. You look at it and you say, I mean, he's a 30-year-old wide receiver. That's a factor. His yards per catch, not where they were during his peak seasons. But could he still be, Diggs plus? You know what I mean? Level
he can
production.
easily be a top 36, top 30 wide receiver. You should check out, we have our mini series on our YouTube, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers. It's called Just the Tips. It's a shorter form content. The one from this past Saturday was all about identifying situations for sleepers. And Chris Godwin was mentioned in that show.
Yeah, you make a good point about it being baked in. So that'll do it for today. Top 10 running backs tomorrow. Mock draft mayhem on Thursday. 10 tips and tricks. Do not miss the Friday episode.
Mayhem is back.
And the 10 tips and tricks. I'm so excited about that on Friday. It should be a great rest of the week. Win the UDK for life by picking up the Ultimate Draft Kit by Monday, August 24th. UltimateDraftKit.com. It'll help you win your league. Go get it.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.